Welcome to From the Couch Sports Talk Radio, your place for everything sports. We got the dog pound barking in the background, bringing us in. That's right. So before we get going, please like, share, subscribe, and notify for all of our latest shenanigans. And we are going to begin the show. We're going to have Jeffrey coming on late. He is better late than never, Lodick. And David, you still got the KKK here.
I do.
Now it's gone. We've made fun of it for several weeks in a row now. This is making a statement.
It's football is back.
That's a lot of A's, not K's, man.
Back. It's back.
There you go. All right. I'm going to let it go this last week, but if it comes up again next week, I am giving you nothing but shit for the hour and a half.
I'm going to think of something even better.
Please do. Please do. Eric, how you doing tonight, man? How's the dog pound?
Hey, it's going okay. So Dog Pound's all excited for the show. I'm excited for the show. Let's get it going.
All right. So we're going to go over some news here. We'll be talking a little more in depth. Obviously, the biggest news of the weekend was the Buffalo Bills getting absolutely smeared by the Chicago Bears. I didn't really care. I didn't actually know until right before broadcast, and Eric had to let me know. So anyway, besides that, okay, so my big news here is Riddick saying, hey, Jets, I want to trade. And the Jets come out saying, fuck you.
Pretty much. If I were a Jets fan, I would be upset with my front office. I really would. And here's the reason why. Hassan Reddick wanted out of Philadelphia because he wanted a contract extension. Okay. And so Hassan Reddick, who plays on a team that had much better potential to make the playoffs and go deep in Philadelphia, Philadelphia decides they're not going to pay this guy. And that's why he was demanding a trade out of Philly. So the Jets go ahead and make a trade for this guy, knowing that he wants a new contract and knowing that they're not going to give him one. And they give up a conditional third-round pick in the process of doing that, thinking that Hassan Reddick would just welcome with open arms and forget the fact that he wanted more money. There's something called due diligence that general managers have to assess before they act, and that is figure out the player you're trading for. What is his makeup? What does he want? Are we in a position to give him what he wants? Because at the end of the day, you're trading a disgruntled player from one team to a disgruntled player and distraction to your team. Now, Aaron Rodgers came out today and says, I want Hassan Reddick to play. I want him as a Jet. Will that motivate the front office to cave to Hassan Reddick's demands of a contract of more money? Because as Aaron goes, so go the Jets, or so it seems over the last 2 years. Pretty much Aaron Rodgers gets his way. So, again, we'll see. But I just think it was poorly executed trade by the front office of the Jets. I think they should have really done their due diligence to figure out if that player was going to play, or they should have at least offered him a contract extension before the trade was finished, just so they knew where they stood. Those are my thoughts. I just think it was poor planning by the Jets. Eric, I'll let you chime in and tell me if I'm wrong.
No, I don't disagree. That's a good observation. Dogs agree too.
Feed them damn dogs so they shut up.
All right, well,
Send the dogs down the road.
man, I love those dogs. Those dogs can bark. They're more entertaining than us anyway. They know as much too.
No, but I thought he was a Steelers fan, and he's bringing the dog pound into this. This is ridiculous.
Well, there you go.
You talk about sleeping with the enemy.
There you go. I hear that, man. Yeah, my take. I do agree with you. Maybe the Jets should have. Well, not maybe they should have kind of known where they stood. Yeah, it is what it is. I do like the fact that the Jets are saying tough shit. You ain't gonna play. You ain't gonna play. We'll save the money. Because you got guaranteed money. You got to make that paycheck somehow. And if you end up sitting out the year, we all know what happens to players who sit out a year. They take a little bit to come back. So we'll see how that goes.
I'll just chime in real quick. Deshaun Watson, Le'Veon Bell. I mean, those guys have never been the same after they were out a whole year, have they?
Sure. I agree. I mean,
I think there's a difference coming back from injury than coming back because you're an asshole.
Well, again, I mean, you see what happened to Deshaun Watson. I mean, Deshaun Watson was suspended for a year, or he just didn't play for the year based on what was going on. Yep. And he's been rusty since. Le'Veon Bell decided that he wasn't going to play for a year because Pittsburgh wasn't going to pay him, and he went to the Jets, and he suffered the consequences of sitting out for a year. Sitting out for a year does not bode well for your career. I don't care who you are. Football players play football, and they need that muscle memory to maintain and be what they were. And the longer you sit away from the game, the harder it is for you to come back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Reddick's got a great chance. And Sean, I'm sorry. Reddick's got a great chance to improve his stock because he's got some fantastic players around him. And, Sauce Gardner on the outside. He's got a good secondary. He's got great players. So he won't see ideally double teams because you can't really double team him on that defensive line. So, I mean, this guy could come in there, even if he doesn't get paid, go in there and get, 15 sacks, and then he could make big money. He's going to make a big mistake here because if the Jets aren't going to trade him, and no, I think I agree with you. The Jets should have done their due diligence. But at this point, I'd look at it like this. I'm going to gamble on myself. I've got a bunch of horses around me, and all I got to do is really show up and do my thing, and I'm going to have a great year and get paid either way. If he sits out all year as a pass rusher, I bet that's the.
And let me ask if any of you guys, did you say his contract is not guaranteed right now?
Guaranteed money.
Is Hassan Reddick's contract guaranteed, or is it? Or does he not have guarantees? Because now if it's not guaranteed, then if I'm smart, I don't play. Because if I go out there and I get hurt and I screw myself over and betting on myself and I end up getting hurt, I am at the point where I have no guarantee, no nothing. And now I screw myself because next year when I want that money ain't going to be there for me.
1 million guaranteed.
1 million guaranteed.
Yep.
Yeah. See, so it's a double.
Oh, that's Theo. Hassan. Sorry, that was Theo. There is guaranteed option in the second contract year worth $13 million. That's where the Jets are coming in at. So,
what's up, man?
How much? What are you doing?
I'm waiting right here in my car for them to come.
For who?
Do we have enough time for them so we can talk about the AYIUK thing?
Oh yeah, we got time. Even if they do come, I got time. We can talk AYIUK. Let's go. I might have to get off after the AYIUK thing.
I knew you wanted it because the latest reporting on NFL.com is Niners and Steelers. They got this thing sewn up. And we're just getting nothing.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, they don't have it sewn up. There's a agreement in principle, right? And I'll tell you, they don't have it sewn up because it would have been executed. The reality is that Pittsburgh doesn't have anything in which San Francisco needs right now to win right now, and that's what they need to do. We talked about this a few weeks back. The reality of all this is that when this conversation started, before Pittsburgh became a conversation, and I can't remember who the original trading partner was in the very beginning of this, and I said, well, I heard something interesting that Cleveland is in the conversation because they have Amari Cooper to move. This is before Cooper signed his extension, but they have a Cooper to move. And what San Francisco needs in return is a receiver to take the place right now, because they're not playing for tomorrow. They're playing for right now. And that's what they're going to do, because they don't have a quarterback that they have to pay. They already have a pretty stout salary cap confines. They're not going to move on from AYIUK unless they get someone that can make them, put them in a category to win right now. Pittsburgh doesn't have that. I mean, especially after they said we're not George Pickens and Freiermuth. With Freiermuth wouldn't have been a relevant person anyway, and I'm sure they wouldn't have gave two damns because Kittle's going to play this year. Maybe in the future it'd have been good, but Freiermuth isn't a replacement for him. But the fact that Pickens isn't movable, Pittsburgh doesn't have the depth at all in receiver to go that way. That's why when you looked at New England and you looked at Cleveland, they had two receivers that they could get back. Van Jefferson isn't your answer. So I would tell you, in my opinion, this will go by. San Francisco will not trade for depth of Pittsburgh, because they don't have any. None of their depth helps them win a Super Bowl right now, and none of their starters on offense are going to help them win a Super Bowl right now that they can actually trade for. Pickens would be a decent addition. I think it would be a great addition, actually. But it's not going to happen. And if it happens, it happens. I've been wrong before. I think the interesting thing, in my opinion, just based on trades that I've seen, speculations that I've watched throughout the offseason, if somehow, some way, San Francisco and Pittsburgh could add the Raiders to this conversation, and you could have Adams moving to San Francisco, AYIUK moving to Pittsburgh, and then Pittsburgh giving up whatever draft picks they have to give up to satisfy the masses, right? Then it makes sense. But I don't believe San Francisco makes a deal that doesn't include a receiver that can step in to do something today, especially after their overall first pick. Their receiver got hurt, and he may miss some time, maybe not a lot, but it's a hamstring injury, so who knows? I just don't find it to be remotely close to being realistic. And by the way, I'll let David go from here because I'm not going to talk about the trade any longer. As far as if Pittsburgh's the right fit, I think it'd be awesome if he goes there for Pittsburgh because they need a receiver. I just think it'll be funny as shit because the locker room will be in shambles. But here's the more interesting thing for me when it's all said and done, is that I look at this deal and I can't help but think of how I mean, I see San Francisco keeping AYIUK on their team and dealing with him as how they have to deal with him over the next few months. And I don't see them moving on from him unless Pittsburgh brings another team into it because there's not enough talent on Pittsburgh that San Francisco needs. I'm not saying that Pittsburgh doesn't have talent. I'm saying that the positions in which Pittsburgh needs, San Francisco needs, Pittsburgh doesn't have it. So I don't see it happening. But Dave, go ahead. I probably have.
No, I'll let Eric talk. Go ahead, Eric.
Okay, so this deal either gets done or doesn't get done. What came out about 10 minutes before the show is there is one piece missing from San Francisco, and it's going to get resolved in 2 days. It's the guaranteed money. If they can meet the guaranteed money, he stays. If they don't, they'll have to trade him. And they have already. That's the report from the insiders, not the Steelers Depot.
Wait, real quick, so I just want clarity, real quick.
Yeah.
So you said the guaranteed money, he stays in San Francisco.
Yes, if that's the last hurdle. So it's not the term of the contract. It's not the money of the contract. There's one hurdle preventing him from staying as guaranteed. If John Lynch can meet the guarantee here in the next 24 to 48 hours, he'll stay. If he doesn't, they'll trade him, and whatever package they're going to get, they have a package in place from Pittsburgh that they'll trade him. And that's from all the people that are reporting on the South, out West and out East. Yeah. And so that's multiple reports that are coming in. So if I would say there's a 70% chance he stays if they'll meet the guarantee money. If not, they're going to take whatever package they can get because they've stated with the insiders that they're going to trade him. I would look for maybe a James Daniel, They'll probably get a guard out of it. And they've been really hot after Herbig as an outside linebacker. Pittsburgh's been hesitant to give him up because he's a stud and he's a good prospect. But San Francisco wants a young prospect outside pass rusher, outside of just a wide receiver.
AYIUK for Watt, straight up.
No, and real quick, hey Eric, that report may be 100% guaranteed, right? I mean, it might be 100% accurate. I will refute it. I mean, I don't have any inside baseball. I don't have anybody calling me and telling me the scoop. I don't believe that at all. It doesn't make sense to me because, again, there's no value in that. That dude, I know who you're talking about. That's fine. That dude's going to be traded anyway. He's a fourth dude out, right? I mean, at the end of the day, there's three. Or no, that's not him. That's Holcomb, right? Holcomb is your other not good talented linebacker. Hey. Real quick, you like how I dug you right there. I just don't see it. I don't see it happening. I do see San Francisco ponying up money, but I don't think for an instance, a single instance, instant that they have to trade him. There is zero push. Yeah, you have a disgruntled guy who's holding in, and I get it. You don't have to trade him. He's going to play. I mean, at the end of the day, he's not going to hold out during the season. He'll play, and if he doesn't, that's a detriment to him, not San Francisco. I mean, it's equally bad. But if I'm San Francisco, I'm not going to move on from a guy who like at a potential play. He might be a pain in the ass, whatever the case may be. The players know that he wants to get his bag because they are following him, so they want to. They don't mind that shit. But what they do mind is moving on from him and getting receiving something that doesn't make them that more of a contender today, and I don't see them being more of a contender with a potential, a prospect, or a draft choice, or a Herbzerg, whatever.
Yeah, so they've got to work the contract for the quarterback because that's the next big hurdle. Because
well, that's my point, Eric. Yeah. I don't. But that's my point. He's already under contract, right? He just wants more money somewhere else. He's not a free agent right now, so he's under contract, and they can move on from him next year if they need to, because right now is their window. So like you said, next year they are going to have to work a quarterback. So they're going to want right now, they want Amari Cooper. They want Devontae Adams. They want the George Pickens. They want a replacement that AYIUK is equal to, right? Now, the one thing I do want to say, David, I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna put it on mute, and I'm gonna wait for these people. I don't understand. Anyway, the thing that'll baffle me, and if I was an owner, I said it. If I was an owner, I'd instantly, I would beat my chest until someone listened to me or someone told me I couldn't be an owner anymore. That there would be zero no trade clauses in any contract ever moving forward in my life. I got to tell you, and it's not about Cleveland, nor is it about New England. What it is for me in this situation is, hey, I want to get paid more money, and you're not paying me. All right, Brandon AYIUK, I don't want to pay you. I'm going to move on from you. And I found two suitors, but they don't fit your desired location. So now I have to go and find a desired location and potentially take less because you want that. And this is any player, by the way. This is just this instant. Now, my frustration is simple. Look, dude, you want more money and I'm not paying you. You don't have a say-so on where the fuck I send you. I got to find a location. I get a return too on this. You want me to move you, which I don't want to do, but you want paid more money. But I'm going to bring in a player that is equal to your caliber or at least close that allows me to continue to compete. I'm not going to swallow that because you want to have more money and a better location to do it in. I'm not feeding that. And I think it's ridiculous because here's the deal. This is the part that I don't like. There's a conversation and a deal is met in what is it called? In principle. But now the deal that's met in principle has Amari Cooper and X, Y, and Z moving from Cleveland to San Francisco. But then he says, nah, I'm good. I don't want to go. But now Amari Cooper's like, man, y'all were just about to trade me. Now, I'm sure he wasn't upset about going to San Francisco. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, he's like, man, you're about to trade me. You go to New England and you got that play. I forgot what receiver it was that was agreed to. Bourne, right? And Bourne's like, man, you guys are about to you create, not only do you create disruption on your team, you're creating disruption on another team. And I think that's horseshit. And to me, that if you don't want to play because we can't come up with a business deal, I get that. But don't you dare for a second think I have to bend to your locations. You're fucking Brandon AYIUK. You're not Tom Brady. You're not Ben Roethlisberger or Peyton Manning or Jim Kelly. I mean, shit. Even Joe Montana went to Kansas City, and I know that's not where he wanted to end up to specifically, right? I mean, he chose it, but neither here nor there. Bottom line is, I think that it's a little shitty that these players, I mean, give them power with the authorities of dollars, meaning guaranteed money, because they have the authorities, the owners have the authorities to cut them at any point in time. So I got that. Give them the guaranteed money. But, man, you don't have a say-so in where your ass is playing. You're here right now. I'm not trying to deal with you. You push the envelope. I'm sending you, and that could be a breach of contract. If you're not willing to stay throughout your contract, then I should be able to move you without thought. I think it's a horseshit. That's my last 2 cents. I'll let David talk. My bad for taking so long.
No, I agree. And the one thing, like I said, in this whole thing, I think the thing that's overlooked and the thing that I don't understand is, first of all, you know, when I look at the AYIUK situation and there was 3 teams involved, you know, and again, I know it's about winning now, and Jeffrey, I agree with you 100%, but I'm surprised a team like Atlanta did not jump into the mix after they lost Rondell Moore for the year. Okay, because that's a team that is devoid of playmakers outside of Pitts, Bijan, and Drake London. Okay, so that would have been a team that I would have looked at based on the injury to Rondell Moore and said, hey, you know what? Maybe I should reach out to John Lynch and see what we have to offer. Now, whether they could have offered anything, whether they could have done the money or not, probably not, because they signed Kirk Cousins to a ridiculous contract and so on and so forth. But, you know, again, that's a team. But more importantly, and I don't care what Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones and all those people say, if I'm a team like Pittsburgh, I am calling Dallas every day, because this is the deal. CeeDee Lamb, as I said, I do not build a team around the wide receiver. I build a team around the quarterback. Micah Parsons is going to be getting paid next year. CeeDee Lamb has to get paid. Dak Prescott needs to be paid. Dak Prescott deserves to be paid, regardless of what I think about Dak Prescott or whatever. The guy's proven that he's a good quarterback, okay? He's a guy who can win games. Now, has he won them in the playoffs? No. Is some of it his fault? Absolutely. Is some of it coaching? Absolutely. You know, there's a lot of things that go into winning and losing, especially in the playoffs. So if I'm Dallas and I look at my team and I look at my situation, I can't afford to pay all 3 of these guys $60 million, $50 million, $30 million guaranteed money and be able to field a team. So if I can get a great return, like if, let's say Brandon AYIUK wants a $32 million a year contract, okay? Yet I could spend $3 million more or $3.5 million more and get CeeDee Lamb. I'm making that phone call all day, every day, and I'm giving up a first, a second, and a first. I don't care. If that's what I had to do if I'm Pittsburgh. Because if the receiver is what you need and you have a choice between Brandon AYIUK or CeeDee Lamb, I'm going all in after CeeDee Lamb. Brandon AYIUK is secondary to me, okay, if I have that option. And maybe they've already said, we're not going to trade him. You talk to somebody long enough and you kind of paint the picture for them, it kind of starts to make sense. I mean, if it was me, if I was the Dallas Cowboys GM, I would be waving CeeDee Lamb to the highest bidder, to the best compensation package, because at the end of the day, I'm Dallas. I'm going to be rebuilding. I can't afford to pay those 3 guys that kind of money and field a team that's going to be competitive. And that's just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Eric, what do you think?
Well, I hope Jeff has gas in the vehicle and he's not going to drive on E on the way back.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I swear to God, I just got gas. The fact that I've been sitting in this drive-through for like it's horrible, man. Like, I don't even want to talk about the business because I don't want to put them to shame, because everybody saw me sitting there the entire time. Anyway, continue.
All right. So what I think, here's the deal. I think CeeDee Lamb's situation will start to heat up a little bit. I think the AYIUK thing is the first domino to fall. And I think you'll see some movement in the wide receiver market. Devontae Adams, maybe CeeDee Lamb. I think Dallas still thinks, I think Jones is a nut. But I think he's like, I can compete, and I don't need. I see his jalapeno popper. He's driving.
Hey, listen, I gotta tell you, the fact that you either I got some really good camera angle action going on with this iPhone 15, or you just really know what jalapeno poppers look like out of Sonic, because that's exactly what I was eating.
I am a connoisseur of Applebee's, which
Good
we
deal.
get into later. So
I like it.
Is your steak overdone?
Always. Anyhow, so I think this is the big domino to fall. I think you'll see Devontae Adams thing heat up, because I don't think that he's going to be like Aiden O'Connell. Let's do it. So I think that'll heat up a little bit. But I think Jerry Jones thinks he can win, and he can win just having Dak throw 50 times. He may feel like I'm going to be done or whatever, but I think he's senile. So I mean, and he's still. So I mean, I don't know what to think of Dallas, but
but I think this is a problem, right? In my opinion, and I know it's market, right? The market sets the market, right? And I get that. I mean, my opinion is irrelevant, but I got to tell you, to David's point, it's really baffling to me to see this level of, and maybe it's because it's just what is being reported. We don't know what's being talked about across the NFL. We could pretend, and there's good reports, and Rappaport is on stuff. But I'd be extremely frustrated if I'm a Steelers fan, or any fan of that matter, that's willing to trade what they're asking for. It's not significantly a lot, but it's a lot. To pay a receiver $32 million at a minimum, because that was what I think that's the New England offer, was $32 million. And for me, I cannot imagine paying Brandon AYIUK $32 million when CeeDee Lamb is not paid yet. And I say that because if I'm not putting forth, and again, I don't know what Khan or any other GM's doing, but if I'm not putting forth the effort to call Dallas every 5 minutes and be like, listen, have you changed your mind yet? I mean, I know they gotta pull the trigger when they gotta pull the trigger, but the reality is if Jefferson's getting paid $35 million, there's no way in hell that AYIUK's going to be coming right after him at 32. If I'm Pittsburgh or any team for that matter, so it's just crazy.
Timeout. Since we're on the subject, I'm on Twitter and or X now, and whatever it's called, and I'm just kind of getting updates as we go along to see if I can get any information to be up to the minute. And according to CT ESPN, if we trust CT ESPN, AYIUK wants to be a Steeler and will not accept anything from the 49ers. Source CT ESPN. I always have to speak Antonio Brown. So it's a done deal.
According to Antonio Brown.
I just thought it was funny.
Anyways,
it is.
Well, my thing about that is,
but it could be true.
Yeah, but the thing about it is that my whole issue, and Eric, this is where I'm gonna come at you a little bit, and I'm just gonna be honest with you. If AYIUK puts on a Steelers jersey, George Pickens is going to demand a trade.
No, he won't.
Because listen, he might not demand a trade, but he's going to become the biggest locker room cancer since T.O. in Philly. Because here's the deal. The dude was upset because if you're paying Brandon AYIUK $30 million, he's going to get 120 targets, and George Pickens is going to get 70. And George Pickens doesn't deal with 70. But that's the reality, because here's the big reality about the entire Pittsburgh team. You are not a 600-time passing team. You will not have two 1,000-yard rushers, two 1,000-yard receivers. Last year, your offense totaled 3,100 yards. That is not how Pittsburgh plays football.
Hey, we won 10.
Go on, get 5 wide receivers. It doesn't. That is not Pittsburgh Steelers football.
I'm glad you made that point. 3,100 yards.
You had 3,100 total offense, 3,160 total offensive yards.
So, hey, Jeff's gone 0 dark 30 over there. So I'll go ahead and fill in here.
Oh, I'm listening. Oh, don't worry. I got something for you when you're done.
I know
arguing about Kenny Pickett was the quarterback.
We're not going to spend all night here because Sean's going to go insane. Here's the deal. They had shit quarterback play. He wasn't a Pro Bowler. He didn't work out. I was wrong, and I'll eat that. Kenny wasn't the guy. Now, is Justin Fields the guy? No. Can Russ be better than both of them? I think so. But Georgia had half the targets Deontay Johnson had. It wasn't about the targets; it's about what he did with the opportunity. And so I do not think that I think it'll help him because I think he's going to be more frustrated if he doesn't have help because he's going to see double coverage the entire time and not get the ball. So I think AYIUK will free him up a little bit. I think he'll be a lot happier because he won't be negated from the game, and so to speak. As far as my 2,000 yard rushers, I'm going to continue with it and come and get me.
I don't know where Jeff went. He must have lost signal.
He was blown away by my brilliance there.
He ran like the little girl he is. He knew he was bested, and he's like, I got to get out of here. Otherwise, he knew I was about to make a joke, and I was going to be saying in the bottom left-hand corner, KD came on the show.
He told me he'd be back. He said he was going to get his daughter, had to stop at the store, and was coming back. And next thing I know, he's freaking at Sonic. What a freaking douche.
Having the post-business meeting jalapeno poppers.
But no, I just, again, I'm only busting your butt about Pickens. But again, I don't know because I just don't know how that dynamic works. Because you see George Pickens on the sideline. You talk about Stephon Diggs. I saw more outbursts in one game from George Pickens than I've seen in Stephon Diggs on a Bill sideline ever. I mean,
here's the deal.
Diggs had one sideline outburst, like walking by Josh Allen saying, "Why'd you throw that?" Or I was wide open. Whatever happens in the locker room, it happens in the locker room. But my point is these guys are alpha. And you talk about alpha players, and that's what George Pickens is. And if he's not getting the ball because AYIUK's getting the ball, I guess maybe winning cures all if they win. But if they don't win, George Pickens is going to be standing up there. Well, I only got thrown the ball 6 times. What am I supposed to do? I can only do what I can do. And it's going to become an issue because if Pittsburgh's not winning and George Pickens isn't getting the ball thrown to him, George Pickens doesn't have a trap on his mouth. He runs it. And it's just proven. It's proven for the last 2 years. If he's not a happy man, he runs his mouth and can cause a lot of friction. So it's going to be interesting to see how Tomlin can deal with that dilemma if it comes to pass.
All right,
John, moving on.
So we've beat this horse to death. Yeah. So J.J. McCarthy is going to have surgery, the rookie quarterback drafted by Minnesota, for a torn meniscus. Can one of you explain what exactly meniscus is for our viewers?
That's the padding on your knee. So, right, that's the meniscus is your. Well, Jeff knows. Jeff's got Frankenstein knees. Jeff, go ahead and take this one.
Hey, am I there now?
Yeah, you should have been home. You said you're going to be home in 40 minutes. Not
motherfucker, I shouldn't have been at the goddamn Sonic for 40 minutes, you ass.
Well,
you watch me sit there.
Going to
Shut
get
up.
your daughter and going home.
Shut
You're
up.
going to get dinner, go fishing, find a manatee. You said you were going to come.
Who the fuck are you talking to?
Anyway, Jeff, tell us what a meniscus is, and
and the fact that I don't have any of them.
Yeah.
Hey, so you guys were talking about. I mean, it really cut off. I'm really messing. But you guys talking about J.J. McCarthy?
Yeah. We just want to go over what a meniscus is so our viewers understand. Our viewer, sorry.
It's the padding that sits between your knees. So basically, you're not hitting bone to bone, and there's a nice little layer there. And if it as a tear, it causes clicking, and it's not overly painful all the time. It can be, but it just is really annoying, and it can lead to further damage. So bottom line is the meniscus sucks. JJ's is hurt, but he'll be back in 6. I mean, usually in sports, because of sports medicine and the way they work, I mean, usually it's 4 to 6 or 6 to 8 weeks of rehabilitation. He'll probably take an additional 2 to 4 weeks of strengthening it after, and he'll be able to play in October or November. I mean, he can play. He ain't out for the
But
year.
do you think he plays this season though? I
Not,
mean,
not a single snap.
Well, he might, but do you think he would? I mean, to start off, I think Sam Darnold's pretty much got the job.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's got the job, and he's going to keep the job. Look, here's the deal. He had a good preseason game. I guess he threw a really bad, ugly interception, but he threw 2 really nice touchdown passes. I mean, I read it. I saw one of them. Bottom line is, good for him. I mean, I get it, but it's not an indication of anything. Sam Darnold, it's his job to lose. JJ's going to sit back, learn, and watch and see the speed and all that stuff. And I'll tell you, Sam Darnold will not play the full year if he sucks, right? I mean, if he starts turning the ball over a lot and they're losing because he keeps turning the ball over, then it'll be a thing. But we haven't seen Sam Darnold with a talented team. He got drafted by a shit Jets team. He was developed by a shit Jets team. He saw a ghost with a shit Jets team. And then he went to San Francisco where he sat on the bench. Oh, he went to Carolina, which was a shit Carolina team, who, by the way, traded Baker Mayfield because they were that. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like Darnold just sucked. Mayfield was actually the worst quarterback in the NFL history until he got traded. I mean, it was bad. So, I mean, this is an opportunity for Darnold to actually come into his play. There's no real stress for him. There's no real pressure for him. This is his opportunity to start. He's got the talent. He did it in college. He's fine in that regard. But, yeah, I don't believe that. I mean, I don't think Darnold's going to be like an all-pro, but I think if people gave Geno Smith the comeback player of the year because he actually went from being fucking horrible historically to having a good year and getting the comeback player of the year, well, this is like a tornado prediction. The conditions are right and set up for Darnold to be the rookie or the comeback player of the year, my opinion.
All right.
What do you think about JJ? Well, again, and again, I think it's the severity of the surgery. I think, again, like they said, once the doctor goes in and sees exactly what's torn or what is, because what they can diagnose is that torn meniscus could be better or it could be worse, just depending on the amount of tearing and what actually damage is also in that structure. So depending on what the doctor does, it could be a minimal surgery where he could come back in a couple weeks to he could be out the whole year. It's just going to be a wait and see thing.
I think you're right, but I think preliminary, I mean, I know they did an MRI and I saw it. I mean, preliminarily, it's just a torn meniscus and it doesn't seem severe. I don't think he's going to, I mean, how many weeks until the football season starts? 4, 5?
3. 23 days.
Yeah, he'll be able to play. He'll be suited up as the backup quarterback by like October 15th at the probably latest, in my opinion. We'll see. I haven't seen the X-ray, and even if I did, I wouldn't know what the fuck I'm looking at. But anyway, we'll see.
All righty.
Eric, any thoughts?
So, and Jeff goes MIA. I cannot believe that we're talking about Sam.
Hey, I'm still here. I'm listening. I just got to do something real quick.
Okay, I can't. He's eating his jalapeno poppers, which I'm freaking starving for some jalapeno poppers now. So son of a gun. So I can't believe we're talking about Sam Darnold being comeback player of the year. I mean, we it's like rock bottom tonight, boys. Here's the deal. I know my kid's a Minnesota fan. I know we want to see him do well, etc. But it's not going to work out with Sam Darnold long term. So to be honest with you, it's going to be McCarthy at some point.
McCarthy's injured.
I know. Hush, I'm on the show. Sorry, I've got a guest speaker over here. That's not liking what I'm hearing or not liking what I'm saying. But ideally, Darnold's going to fizzle out. They're going to be 2-4, and they're going to turn to McCarthy because he's the future of the team.
All right. Well, that seems fair.
Ron, you got any thoughts? You got any opinions?
Who do you ask, Bailey? Or do you ask me? Oh, here you go.
Oh man, I don't want to see that.
That's crazy.
Well, you got to turn off the mic.
I already turned it off, bro. That's crazy. 2-14 is crazy. I don't know what you want about. We're not going 2 for 14. That's for certain.
So you think Sam Darnold keeps the job for the year?
No,
You don't think so?
he'll play for 4 weeks and then get taken out. But the thing is, JJ McCarthy's injured right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Brilliant.
So I missed. I was unable to respond when Eric said, "I can't believe we're talking about Sam Darnold being the comeback player of the year." I didn't hear the rest of what he said. That's all I had heard. What happened?
No, nothing. Go ahead.
Well, no, I don't think he's going to go 2-4 and he'll end up on the bench. And because Minnesota's not that good, and they're not going to keep Sam Darnold the entire time.
I say all that. I mean, that sounds good, and you may be very, very, very right. But I would tell you that I can guarantee you this with 100% certainty, 100% certainty, that 2 years ago during preseason on August 13th of 2022, you surely didn't say, "Man, I bet you Geno Smith is going to get Comeback Player of the Year award." Well, one, because you didn't get a Comeback Player of the Year award because you actually became good all of a sudden. You got a Comeback Player of the Year because you were injured and you did something phenomenal. Geno Smith just played football like he was supposed to get drafted. So to me, it's as possible as Geno, in my opinion.
Sure. Sean, you got any opinions?
No, I think exactly kind of where Eric was going with it is what's going to happen. I think when JJ comes back and he's able to play, he's going to play. I don't think Sam is going to do well. Real quick, happy mistake. I see we didn't get to the NFC North a couple of weeks ago because I wasn't expecting to be on tonight. So anyway, we could do that tonight after buy or sell.
Sure.
Hey, real quick, let me ask you a question, Sean. I don't mind, and I don't care that you got, because I don't have any vested interest in whether or not JJ plays, even though I don't think he should ever got drafted into the NFL to begin with. That's number one. I don't have a vested interest in the Vikings. I don't have a vested interest in neither JJ or Darnold. I guess my question is this. I believed when they signed Darnold was their starter. I thought they were going to make some moves to try to get a real starter, another starter, but Darnold's there, Jefferson's healthy, blah 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 blah. They draft JJ McCarthy, who's done a really good job of handing the ball off in his college career, and they won a national championship. That's good. When I said 4 months ago, 3, 2, 1, and last week that I don't believe that JJ McCarthy will see a snap, I firmly believe that. But here's more importantly to me, you guys are talking about 2-4, but we have a guy that they drafted that just is having knee surgery and is going to miss time. You think that at week 6 in the NFL, after having surgery in his rookie season, they're going to put him in the thing because that's going to help them decide his future? How? I mean, I don't. Even more now, even though it's not a season-ending surgery, even more now, I don't believe he gets put in the game at all. And I say that because, again, this is not like Eric will say 60 quarterbacks played last year, which is a crazy number, right? And it's factual. But you know what's crazier is that the very team that is putting their quarterback to have surgery on his knee, that very team drafted a rookie quarterback and played him last year, only to watch him get knocked out for the entire season with a concussion. So that very team with that very general manager, I don't believe they're going to make the same mistake twice, personally. So, I mean, you guys can stay with I don't want to change your opinions. All I'm saying is, from my thought isn't because JJ sucks that he won't play. I think that Sam will get his chance, but I think now that he hurt himself, I don't believe they're going to put him in there to have him hurt himself further with only a few weeks after he's had surgery in his rookie season. Personal opinion.
If you look at the schedule, which we're going to get to later, but it's actually favorable to be a 2-4 team, and then they have a bunch of teams that they can compete with and win So it would be the time to put him in and give him some confidence going.
Well, I do agree with Jeff, though, because here's, we talked about when Joe Burrow was a rookie, and we thought that Zach Taylor was absolutely insane because they had no offensive line. They dropped Joe Burrow back 60 times a game, and he got the crap kicked out of him. And I thought that the entire Cincinnati coaching staff and general manager should have been fired just because they did that to their quarterback. And so to me, if I'm Minnesota and I'm in that division and I got Green Bay and I got Detroit, if I drafted a rookie as high as I drafted J.J. McCarthy, number one, I want to make sure that he's ready to play. But more importantly, after his surgery on his knee, do I want to risk the fact that him coming back from a surgery and go into games that might be meaningless or less important, only to risk injury of my future franchise quarterback if that's what I drafted him as?
Okay.
To me, that would be kind of stupid.
Yeah, Dave, let me chime in and we can go to Byron. Scared money don't make money. So they're not going to sit there and be, if he's medically cleared and they're 2-4, and they have a decent offensive line. The Vikings aren't bad on offensive line. I'm going to give more brilliant Viking analysis than my offensive line son here, who just says they're good and bad. They actually have a decent offensive line. And we're talking the whole Aaron Rodgers debate. We're talking about a pocket passing quarterback. So a quarterback that's going to be sitting back there in the pocket. We're not talking like any structural damage. We're talking meniscus. So ideally, I agree 100% if there's an ACL sprain, MCL sprain, if we're talking some sort of crucial ligament to his knee, to the structure of his knee, to the structure of his career long term, I don't disagree. But we're talking about a meniscus tear. We're talking, I've heard others, high schoolers have come back and play on a meniscus tear the same year. I think as long as it's not a deep surgery and it's just a cleaning out of the knee, I think if he's healthy enough and doctors say he can go, I think scared money don't make money, and Minnesota's going to find out what they have because they have investment draft picks in the line. The line's not bad, and they can win games.
I love the idea of scared money doesn't make money, but bad investments fuck your career. And what I'll tell you is, when you say that, they don't have to be scared, but they still have to be cautious, right? I mean, at the end of the day, because again, this isn't just about the 60 NFL quarterbacks that played, and I don't disagree with you. A meniscal tear is not career-ending and threatening, right? I understand that part, but what I'm saying to you, any surgery is a surgery nonetheless, and you still have to put pressure on and do all the stuff to get you back. And he could very well be cleared. But what I'm saying is the same general manager and the same staff dealt with the same exact situation last year, and they invested a draft pick on a rookie quarterback because they were trying to decide, are they going to stay with Kirk? Are they going to move on from Kirk? Kirk goes down with a torn Achilles. Now they got to move forward without him. And they put in their rookie that was going to be their potential future, and the dude's out for the year. I'm just saying to you, most people learn from their mistakes. I don't think it's scared money. I think it's understanding why we did this. I firmly believe wholeheartedly that J.J. McCarthy was not drafted to play this year. I mean, he wasn't a top 5. The fact that he got picked up when he got picked up is mind-boggling, will always be mind-boggling, unless, of course, he comes out and has... Maybe he does. But the reality.
What draft are you referring to?
16, I think. Was he picked 16?
Yeah, McCarthy was picked high, but who are we talking about for the Vikings?
Who did Minnesota draft?
I mean, I don't remember who it was. Listen, the dude wasn't Joe Burrow, and I get it. I can't remember his name. They drafted the rookie. They brought him in. He got concussed and broke his whole face and shit. I don't remember his name. Listen, he played one game, and then they went and got the bald-headed guy with alopecia. What's his name?
Brian Hoyer.
What's the guy's name? No,
hey, you're talking about Super Saiyan 3, Josh.
I don't know.
Super Saiyan 3, Josh Dobbs. If you guys watch Dragon Ball Z.
Josh Dobbs, right? They had a draft Josh Dobbs, or not draft him, trade for him, and have him play like 4 seconds later because the dude they had playing got killed almost. I just don't see him doing it. I mean, who knows? You may very well be right. And oh, by the way, if you are, I'm not mad at you, and I'm not like devastated by the choice. I think Sam Darnold has a good potential of showing why he was drafted in that draft class where he was. He was drafted 3 overall, right? And I think that he hasn't had an opportunity to show you why, because he hasn't had a talented team at all.
Yeah, I think this is Sam Darnold's best team that he's been on. So I guess the one thing that I would say to counter your argument about offensive line is I haven't seen J.J. McCarthy show me anything that says that J.J. McCarthy's any better than Sam Darnold. So the fact that Sam Darnold hasn't had the talent around him offensively, and you're going to throw J.J. McCarthy into the same offense with the same talent that you'd have an experienced Sam Darnold in, I don't think you give like Sam Darnold a 4 or 5 game audition and say, okay, that's it. I think, and again, I just see what happens. If JJ McCarthy plays, I'm not going to be like, okay, Eric, you were right, I was wrong. But I'm just saying, I don't.
Hey, you know what I'm going to be like? Hey, you know what I'm going to be like? Either way, no matter what happens, this is what I'm going to be like. Do the Vikings even have a football team? Like, I don't even know the last time they're relevant. The fact that we're talking about them this long is confusing to me, and I'm the one who's talking about them this long.
Yep.
My bad. Sorry, Sean.
Just to fact check, and we'll move on. Jaron Hall was drafted in the 5th round in 2023. He's the quarterback that Jeffrey is referring to. He's the quarterback that played 2 games. I think there's a difference in wanting
and died.
Yeah, and died. I think there's a difference in wanting to see a 5th round pick in the top 15 pick.
No, you're right. I don't disagree, but I think the difference is that they picked J.J. McCarthy 4 rounds.
All right, let's move on from Minnesota and J.J. McCarthy, for Christ's sake. Let's talk about Joe Milton. He's a 6th round pick.
The new Josh Allen, the Minnesota.
I'm
all right, so we're going to segue, but first I want to welcome back to the program, the bottom left corner, KD. Thank you for coming back on again. So let's go ahead and
I'm like, where is he? I'm going to bring him in.
Okay, let's go to buy or sell.
Oh my God. And you're worried about my football's back, you piece of shit.
Buy
He's watching
or
and he's
sell.
I'd buy that for $1.
Need to buy it. I'm buying it. I'm buying it. I'm buying.
They're selling, Mortimer.
Look, lady, whatever you're selling, I ain't buying, yo.
Well, you idiot. Get back in there at once and sell.
all right. Throw up my slides if you would. Okay, so this week's comes from the NFLspinzone.com. Nice little site these guys have. So I'll be promoting, somebody else. I try to get these obscure sites on. But they said they had predictions for every team, and I just picked some of the good ones. And they said for the Browns, Deshaun Watson isn't any better in 2024, leaving the Browns QB future bleak. Are you buying or selling this, David?
I'm going to sell it because I don't think he can be any worse than what he's been the last 2 years with Cleveland. So I do believe he's better than what he's been. I think he stays healthier this year. Do I predict him to have 30 touchdown passes? Probably not. But I do sell the fact that he is going to be better than he's been in Cleveland up to this point.
Okay. I am buying this. I think he's going to suck again. I think they're going to realize, holy crap, what have we done, and how can we get out of this? Eric.
You're muted.
Having technical difficulties on my Apple there. Hey, I cannot buy this harder than right now. Like I'm so excited about this to lead off. I'm buying that he isn't any better. I'm buying that the Browns aren't very good. I got decimated the last 2 years of crappy quarterback play, and this guy was even worse. So he's had all the time in the world to get it right. I just saw on Twitter while I was sitting there listening, because I'm waiting for an AYIUK update. I just saw on Twitter that Jameis Winston was coaching him up. So I cannot sell or buy this harder. He's going to suck, and I'm going to enjoy it. I look forward to being invited to Let's Go Brownies. Let's talk to Deshaun Watson, guys.
All right, Jeffrey, you buying or selling?
Yeah, I'm selling. I mean, I know Eric only wants to buy it just because it makes him feel better since he'll finish in fourth behind them. I think, just to David's point, it's been tough over the last 2 years, so it can't be much worse. But at the end of the day, yeah, I mean, he'll be better. He's got pretty good talent around him. I mean, Chubb will come back later on. He'll be fine. I mean, he's not gonna. I'm not sitting here putting him in a top 5 quarterback conversation, but I think he'll be better statistically than any fucking quarterback that's sitting on Pittsburgh's staff.
Oh, okay.
You should go up on your computer, Jeff, so we can see you.
All right. So here we go. Next one.
No.
Wow. Okay. Well, that doesn't work. Okay. So buy or sell. Patriots end up picking first overall in the 2025 NFL draft. I'm going to sell this. I think they're going to be top 3. I don't think they're going to be number 1. I think they're going to get by enough. And there's certain teams that they always tend to beat that they shouldn't. Well, in the last couple of years anyway. So, Eric.
So we really do have KD on tonight because he's freezing up like KD does every time he comes on. So I mean, we've got the so before KD goes here on the bottom, I'm gonna sell this. I think New England's going to be very similar to what the Raiders were last year. I think they're going to play hard for Mayo. I think the defense is pretty stout, and I think they've got some good young weapons. So I mean, I don't think they're going to be a contender, but I think they're going to be 7-8 wins. So I'm going to sell.
All right. Jeffrey, are you done dispersing the Sonic? Can you?
Yeah, man. I'm trying to dog get down on this. My dog ran upstairs. What was the? I don't even know what the question is. I'm trying to listen, but it's not really working.
Buy or sell? Patriots end up picking first in the draft in 2025.
Yeah, I'll buy it. I mean, they're horrible. I keep hearing Eric talk about their talent, and I'm just not. Okay, that sounds good. I mean, it gives me zero faith in anything he says when he talks about the Patriots even being 7 wins. The reality is no. I am buying them having the worst NFL team this year, and I think by a long shot. There's a lot of unknowns from the coaching. To think that the coaching staff is going to have the defense playing at a better level than Bill Belichick, who is arguably the best defensive mind ever in the game, and there's no new talent on that team to make them better. And so no. And then offensively, okay, so you might have Brissett quarterbacking. That's not a Mac Jones upgrade. I don't care what anybody says. He's got a under 500 record. They have zero talent on it. The only thing he have is a running game with no offensive coaches to run it. I know. I am buying that. They are the worst team in the NFL this year.
Yep, I buy it as well because I just don't. They have no. Like I said, you score 14 to 17 points on this team, it's over. They have no playmakers on offense. They have no ability to. Looking at it today, they have no ability unless they prove me different. But if you're asking me today, I buy this all day because this isn't going to be your last year's Houston Texans. Drake May is not C.J. Stroud. The offense is not anywhere close to Houston's offense last year. Defensively, they're not anywhere close to what Houston's defense was last year. The fact is the Patriots are what they are, and they're just bad. And I will buy that they end up with the first pick.
Well, they don't have to be great. They just have to be better than Carolina.
And playing in the AFC East is going to be worse.
Yeah, they tend to pull out a game or two where they shouldn't. But anyway. All right, next one. Eric. Raiders earn a top 3 pick in the 2025 draft.
I'm buying this. So we talk about, it depends on Devontae Adams, I think a lot, but I don't think he's going to be there. And if I had to sit here today and say, which team do I think is heading in the wrong direction, where New England has some young playmakers around a quarterback that they just drafted to build chemistry together, their idea in the Raiders should be playing Minshew. Because he's at least competitive. I don't like Aiden O'Connell. I think they're going to struggle out the gate with Aiden O'Connell. Though they have a great defense, this is more of the offensive issues of the team. So I'm going to buy it, and I wouldn't be surprised if they end up number 1.
All right. Jeffrey, are you buying or selling?
I'm going to sell. I think I think Antonio Pierce is a good coach. I mean, he's proven that he's a good coach. Unlike the chance that maybe Mayo is a good coach in New England, Pierce is a good coach. And what I would tell you is, I think Gardner Minshew should be the starting quarterback. I don't know what they're going to do. But with that being said, Gardner Minshew throughout his career has proven to be the same guy every year, right? So the same guy every year that does what Trevor Lawrence does, but better, who does what other quarterbacks that are starters getting paid $50 million a year do and do it better. But that being said, I don't think he's a top 5 quarterback, but I think that they have a top 5 defense. I think it's still going to be a struggle for them in the West. With the Chiefs, obviously, but I think that they're going to be a much more improved team this year. I don't think that they're going 13-4 or even maybe 7-9 or 7-10 or whatever that is. I mean, they have a better chance of winning the 7 games that Eric's talking about than New England does. So no, I don't think the Raiders are a top 3 pick. I mean, I think they're a top 10 probably, not top 3.
Yeah, I sell this as well. I do. They haven't named the quarterback, so Eric's already talking about Aiden O'Connell. I think Gardner Minshew wins this job this week because that's when they're going to name the starting quarterback. They have playmakers on that team. Defensively, they're solid. Offensively, Jacoby Myers, Devontae Adams, Zamir White. I sell this. They're not picking top 3.
I could go either way on this, but I'm going to sell it just because I don't think New England, Carolina, and the Chargers, I think, are going to suck ass. So I don't think they're going to be the top 3, but it is possible because, I mean, I think their defense is going to be okay because they've really bolstered that up. But, it just comes down to your quarterback. And we don't know who it is yet. They're both backups. Gardner has done great work. I mean, in Philadelphia, in Indianapolis, she's done great work. He's got a stud wide receiver, and Jacoby Myers left, right?
No, Jacoby Myers is there.
Okay. So he might have some success there, but I think they're top 5. I don't know if they're top 3. Okay, so Jeffrey, this one is to you. Sam Darnold plays better than we all thought.
Yeah, I buy it. Well, yeah. I mean, I listen. Without going into some like crazy ass thought process, like this dude's some type of amazing guy. I think he's going to play better than a lot of people think. I don't think he's going to be top 5 quarterback, but I think it's the first time that he's had talent. So I think that he only can go. If anybody says that it's what Sam Darnold's done through his career, and that's what you think this year is going to be for him, I don't think so. Because I think that this is the first time that he's had a staff that allows for him to do more than what he's done. So yeah, I think it's going to be better than what he's offered in the past.
Yeah, I just think his supporting cast is better. He's got a better coach offensively. And I think they're going to let him play to what Sam Darnold plays. And so at this point, I can't say that he's not going to be that guy. So I buy it. I think he plays better.
All right. I buy it too. I think it'll be a little better. I don't, but really what bar are we setting here? We've already got a pretty low bar. So I can't say anywhere but up. Eric.
This is becoming like a Josh Allen debate where we just keep going back and forth. I'm going to sell. Moving on.
Okay. All right. So let's go here. And David, you are up. Second-year QB Will Levis plays poorly as Titans clinch top 3 pick in the NFL draft. Buy or sell?
I sell that because I think he plays better than he did last year, and playing in the AFC South, there's no real juggernaut in that division. So I think anybody can win that division, especially looking at the Texans' schedule this year. I think we find out really what the Texans are made of. And I don't think CJ Stroud takes the NFL by surprise, like we always say. I think you got to prove it year after year. He had one great year, and I'm not saying he's not going to, but I think the Titans will not be in the top 3 in draft picks.
Jeffrey.
Yeah, I'm gonna sell. I mean, I don't know that he played great last year, except for the first game of his career against Pittsburgh. But anyway, I don't think that's who he played against. His first game was against Pittsburgh. His second game was against Pittsburgh. But anyway, I don't know he plays poorly. And I got to tell you, Tennessee is probably the most quiet, revamped team in the NFL with the things they've done. I mean, I think they've made some splashes here and there, but I think they've created a pretty well-rounded group. Maybe not the highest of talent, but not the lowest either. No, I don't think the Titans get a top 3 pick.
Well, they got Calvin Ridley. They got Devontae or DeAndre Hopkins. So
no. Well, Hopkins is out for weeks. I mean, he's going to be out. He's out, so he's hurt. But neither here nor there. I don't disagree. I think they're talented. I think they got a talented pool. The only thing is who is their running back last year?
Tajay Spears and Tony Pollard.
No, last year.
Oh, Derrick Henry was
exactly, and so that's going to be a difference, right? I mean, that's going to be a difference. It's what I'm saying by that is I'm not saying Pollard can't run and Spears can't run, and I'm not saying that Henry was as good as he was in the past last year. What I am saying is you still game plan for Henry, right? There wasn't much of a game plan surrounding Will Levis and his passing. You were worried about Henry tearing you up, and now that doesn't exist. You got a new coaching staff. It's a lot of change there, but I think they've done well with the personnel. And we'll see how it goes. But, to your point, I think that they're equally competitive in a non-competitive division minus Houston. I think if Houston replicates what they did last year, they're going to be a very talented and crazy squad to compete against. But like to your point, they have to do it again, and they do have a tougher schedule. So we'll see. I'll be really interested in those head-to-head games, probably maybe a little bit more so this year than I have in the past, to see that division play against each other, to see Jacksonville and Tennessee, Jacksonville and Houston and Indianapolis, because there's a lot of people giving a lot of credit to those teams, and I don't compare them to the NFC North at all, or AFC North, excuse me. That's a great division of football. They're trying to hype this division up to be a great division, and I just don't see it. So it's going to be an interesting start to the season. So we'll see.
I'm selling it just because he's got the receivers he has, and especially because he has Pollard, who's a great outlet for screen passes. I see a lot of them being thrown. I think he's just going to throw the ball, and someone's going to find it and do better. So that's it. Eric?
So, the one concerning thing out of Titans camp is that he's being outplayed by Rudolph. So, I mean, I have some concern about Will Levis, because that's not great, because Mason's okay, but he's not like anything big. I think they'll stick it out with Levis through the year, but I think if things go bad, they'll turn to the veteran. So I don't know if they'll be top 3. So I don't think they'll be top 3. I'm gonna sell.
All right. So you got Will Levis, who is the Wish version of Zach Wilson. So, and that's pretty bad comparison there. Okay, last one. Jeffrey, Daniel Jones and Drew Lock start multiple games. Buying or selling?
Who does Drew Lock play for?
Giants.
Oh yeah, that's inevitable. Yeah, I mean, I'll buy it. I mean, first of all, I mean, this is going to be. This is the I think that. What's his name? Shane, the dude who Buffalo. What's his name, Dave?
Yeah, Joe Shane.
Joe Shane and Dable, they might as well sing, dance, do whatever they want to do together. This is their last hurrah in New York, and buying this is the proof is in the pudding. They will both have multiple games, whether it be for injury or piss poor play. I mean, I know they don't want to sit Daniel Jones down, their $40 million quarterback, but as he struggles, so will the team, and they'll move around. Drew Lock will start multiple games, and the Giants will suck again. They'll be in the last place in that division, and both of those, I know Eric likes to say that Brian Dable's a genius because he saw him talk on a video about plays and shit. All offensive coordinators talk like that because they're smart, but the reality is the dude's a moron, and they're going to lose. So yeah, Buying.
Ditto to what Jeff just said. Eric?
I can't. That was great, Jeff. I really enjoyed the color commentary up there on Brian Dable. Hey, look, I'm not going to hate on the guy. Guy's coach of the year, and he won coach of the year, and he got them to the second round of the playoffs, and he took that offense in playoff football in Buffalo and was 13 seconds away from getting the Super Bowl, which is closer than your other offensive coordinator, right? Because he was the guy that was calling the plays, was he not? So I'm going to correct me if I'm wrong. Go ahead.
I want to correct you because you're wrong. I want you to really consider this. You're right. He won the coach of the year. Awesome, good on him. They squeaked into the playoffs on a shitty ass Ron Rivera thing, and it's cool. I don't mind that. But you act as though he was the offensive play caller in Buffalo, which he was, and you act as though the same offensive play calling is what he did in New York to get there. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, who was 80% of the offense in New York? It sure as fuck wasn't Daniel Jones, because guess who did it? The guy who's no longer on the team, Saquon Barkley.
Right.
That year.
I mean, this is my moment here, just like my last word always gets taken, Sean. So
you said correct me if I'm wrong, and I said I'm going to correct you because
just to be fair, I'm going to buy it because of his knee, because I think his knee, ACLs scare me. But what I'm going to say is the Giants won't finish in last place. Daboll took the Giants that year as far as Buffalo went, and he's gotten as far as Buffalo went since he left. Which you can't deny that. So ideally, I think because the pressure is mounting, I think the Giants won't be in last place. They're not a title contender, but they'll be better.
David?
So yeah. Well, first of all, I just want to point out that did you ever hear the saying that like when you have a pet, like it'll start to look like its owner? So you look at Eric. And then you look at Brian Dable. He starts to look like him more and more every day because they kind of look alike. Take the hat off, Eric, and you're Brian Dable. See, Brian Dable Jr. down there. You just take on the features of the owner. But that being said, I'm going to sell this because I don't believe Daniel Jones and Drew Lock start multiple games. I believe Daniel Jones and Tommy DeVito start multiple games because I think Tommy DeVito is better than Drew Lock. And I think Tommy DeVito wins the number 2 job in New York. And I believe Daniel Jones and Tommy DeVito start multiple games. But that being said, and everything else,
all right.
You guys wait, but you guys are talking about your Brian Dable, all that kind of stuff. I like Daniel Jones, but I will say one thing about Jeffrey. Dayball and Shane are going to be doing a lot of dancing this year because the fact of the matter is they kept their $43 million quarterback, and John Merrill was in the office and said, you let my most popular player and my team's moneymaker walk out the door. So you screwed up, and when we finish in last place, you're going to find another job because – basically, that's what Hard Knocks was, and this is either Shane and Dayball make something happen with the Giants this year, or they're looking for work.
All right, and I definitely love the people looking like their pets thing, the pets looking like the people thing, because I didn't realize it, but look at it, yeah, it does. You are fucking Brian Dable.
I know.
Okay, I got one more. I forgot.
Oh, sorry.
Put me back up there. Okay, so Eric, we're going to give you this. This has got to be. Oh no, there's 8 of them. Shit. So I'll take this. Commanders again pick inside top 5 in the NFL draft. I'm going to buy this. I think they're not going to be good. Eric.
So, look, I think the NFC or that division, I think the Commanders and the Giants will be better. And the one thing we're not talking about the Giants is Malik Neighbors is going to be a beast. But as far as the Redskins, I like Daniels. I like his mobility. I like the ability that the defense has to, account for that. I think he's got some good Terry McLaurin. He's got some good weapons. The Commanders will be better. I'm gonna sell, and both those teams will be competitive in that division.
Good.
I am going to sell this. I think they pick in the top 10, but they don't pick inside the top 5. I think they're a little bit more talented than that. And I think playing in the NFC East, playing the Giants twice, playing a Dallas team that we don't know what we're going to get, other than Dak Prescott throwing 65 times because he has no running game. I think they're good enough to squeak out 7 to 8 wins in that division, which will definitely put them maybe on the fringe of the top 10 to 11. So I will sell this.
Jeffrey.
Well, I think it's a buy and sell. I will buy it if the Giants are picking 3, and then Washington can pick 4 or 5. Washington will finish ahead of the Giants, so I mean, I see that happening clear as day. So I think Washington. I think Dan Quinn is a good coach, and I think he'll do very well within that division. He's done so with Dallas, and I know they're more talented. But to Eric's point, they have besides McLaren, which is a good one, they have Dotson, which is a good one. They have a good set of backs. They have a good defense. Their defense isn't. It's funny because they took a hit last year because they got rid of Sweat and Chase at the same time, but they still have some top talent, and you bring in Dan Quinn in it, and he's doing some things. So I don't think Washington's competing for the division, but I don't think they're a top 5 pick. I'm selling that. I mean, and the only way I buy it is if the Giants got the number 2 pick and they just happen to be at 3, 4, or 5.
All right. And the last one, Eric. Cardinals double their win total from 2023. They won 4 games. They can win 8. Are you buying or selling?
I'm really hedging on the Cardinals because week 1 I said they're going to lose to Buffalo 20-19. I would not be surprised if they came and bite Buffalo in the butt because Buffalo's traditionally a slow starter. So there may be one there. But ideally, I'm hedging on them because I think they're going to be better. I just can't take Kyler Murray seriously. I think they've got weapons. I just can't see that he's got the dedication to be the guy. Just because I've never seen a quarterback choose Call of Duty over doing his job. So ideally, since that has happened, I've lost faith in him until he shows me something differently. And shame on the Cardinals media. They should be trying to be like, hey, this guy's reforming his act. He's actually studying his playbook. But they're not really. They're kind of marketing everybody else around him, which leads me to believe because they're not marketing Kyler that they're going to get rid of him. So since he's not really heavy on their social media presence, I'm going to sell this. Cardinals are going to not be very good, but they've got some good young pieces. They just need a quarterback.
Yeah, I sell this as well. I see this team as a 6 or 7 win team. It's just so tough in that division. You got San Francisco, you got the Rams, you got Seattle. I mean, I know they play each other tough, and division games are what they are. When you're picking division games, you got to go out. So you got to think outside the box. You can't just look at, the guys on the line of scrimmage. You can't look at the 11 on 11 because division games are a whole different breed and they're a whole different animal. But that being said, I don't see them winning 8 games. They got a rookie in Marvin Harrison Jr. who could do great things, but I don't know if they have anything outside of that. They got James Conner and they got the Trey Flowers, the running back, and they got the tight end. What's his name?
Ertz.
McBride. No, Trey McBride.
Okay.
But their defense took a hit, and I just don't know if they compete in that division, let alone their schedule. I mean, their schedule isn't most favorable either because they got to play the AFC East, I think, this year, which would be Miami, the Jets, Buffalo, and Eric's wonderful New England Patriots. So I just think it's a tough schedule all the way around.
Jeff, are you buying or selling?
Yeah, I'm a sell. They don't have Trey Flowers. They have Zay Jones and they have Trey Benson or whatever his name is.
Yeah, Trey Benson. That's what I meant.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. I mean, I'm interested in what Harrison Jr. does, and I think that Kyler Murray, as much I don't like him, but he very much like Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen and the better quarterbacks in the NFL, the Joe Burrows, he gives their team a chance to win. And as much as he frustrates me. I mean, he's small and he's goofy and but he's agile and he's quick and he could make some things. I'm interested to see what he does with a healthy season with James Conner and Marvin Harrison Jr. But they have Zay Jones as the next guy, and they have Zach Pascal. I mean, I just don't see their talent around them being overly good. So no, I'm selling. I don't think that they win 8 games. I think it's going to be very difficult. I don't even know the schedule, but I would just tell you that it's going to be hard. Their defense doesn't I don't look at their defense and say, you know what, that defense, boys, is one to be concerned about. So no, I'm selling.
Okay, I saw it also. And Eric, you sold it, right? You said they were not going to double it. Okay, good, because you did their schedule. You had them at 2-15. So you are true to your word.
Always
All right.
the unbiased, fair analysis here.
You're thinking they get the number 1 overall pick, huh?
I can see it. Quarterback.
Ooh. Okay, so what we're going to do here, we're going to go through the win-loss predictions so we can kind of finish out our stack here. Eric, you're going to get to go twice. And then Jeffrey and David, you each get to decide. One person gets to do the Lions, the other person gets to do Green Bay. But Eric, we're going to start with you because you're going to start off with Chicago, then you're going to end with Minnesota. So, okay, first game of the season, they have the Titans at home. Chicago has Titans at home.
Win.
They go to Houston.
Loss.
They go to Indy.
Win.
They have the Rams at home.
Win.
They have the Panthers at home.
Win.
They are in either London or Germany with Jaguars.
See, the Jaguars are sneaky. Ask the Bills. I'm going to go loss there.
Okay, then they have the bye week. Coming off the bye, they are at Washington.
Loss.
Then they go to Arizona.
Win.
Then they have the Patriots at home.
Tough one. I'm going to give them a win. It's at home.
Okay, then they got the Packers at home.
Loss.
Then they go to they have the Vikings at home.
Win.
Then they go to Detroit.
Yeah, not getting that one. Loss.
Then they go to San Francisco.
Nope. Loss.
Then they go to Minnesota.
At Minnesota. See.
Monday Night Football.
I'm going to give him a win because I don't like Sam Darnold. So give him a win.
Okay. Then they have the Lions at home.
Loss.
Then they have the Seahawks at home.
Gino. I'm going to give him a loss.
Then they go to Green Bay.
Loss.
Okay. 1, 2,
8 and 9.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. 8 and 9.
Who's that? That's Chicago?
Yep.
Chicago. All right. So which one of the brothers wants the Lions?
I'll do the Lions.
Okay. So week 1, they have the Los Angeles at home.
The Rams?
I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's the Rams. At home, it's a night game. I'll pick Detroit.
Okay, then they have Tampa Bay at home.
Detroit.
Then they go to Arizona.
Win.
Then Monday Night Football, they have Seattle at home.
Win.
Oh, 4-0. Then they have a bye week, and then they go to Dallas.
I'll go win.
Then they go to Minnesota.
At Minnesota, is JJ McCarthy playing? I'm just kidding.
Yes, it would be.
Yeah, I mean that's what it would. At Minnesota, I'm gonna go win.
Okay. Then they have Tennessee at home.
I'm gonna say they're gonna lose Tennessee.
Then they go to Green Bay.
They're going to lose to Green Bay.
Then there is Sunday Night Football at Houston.
They're going to lose to Houston.
Then they got Jacksonville at home.
They're going to win.
Then they have Indy. They go to Indy.
They're going to win.
Then they have Chicago at home.
They're going to win.
Then on Thursday Night Football, they have Green Bay at home.
They're going to win.
Then they have Buffalo at home.
Buffalo will win, so that's a loss.
Okay. And then they're at Chicago.
They're going to lose.
At San Francisco on Monday Night Football.
They'll lose.
And then they have Minnesota at home.
Then they win.
Okay,
Should be 12-5.
So I wish
No,
Jeff,
11-6.
11-6.
Sean, really quick, I wish Jeff would have been here last week for the. Can you imagine how long it would have taken for all three of us to do Buffalo? It would have been
It wouldn't take long. And oh, by the way, I just did it because I wasn't looking to see where Eric was. I got Detroit beating Buffalo, just so you know. So when I said 12-5, I was right because I said Buffalo to you. I'm 11-6, but I think Detroit beats Buffalo. I think they finished the season 12-5 and taking the division.
Okay, because I thought you said Buffalo was going to win that.
No, I did, but I did it more so for Eric's enjoyment to talk shit to me. But I didn't realize he wasn't in his seat, so I don't know if he even heard it. So anyway, yeah. But my bottom line is, I think Detroit finishes 12-5, and I think they beat Buffalo in Detroit.
All right. So David, here you go. You got the Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
Week 1, Friday night. They are in São Paulo, Brazil, against the Eagles.
They win.
Then they have the Colts at home.
Win.
Then they are at the Tennessee Titans.
Win.
Then they have the Minnesota Vikings at home.
Win.
Then they are at the LA Rams.
Loss.
Then they have the Arizona Cardinals at home.
Win.
They have Houston Texans at home.
Loss.
Then they at Jacksonville Jaguars.
Win.
Have the Detroit Lions at home.
At home?
Uh-huh.
That's going to be a win. No, you know what? That's going to be a loss.
Okay. Then they have a bye week. Then they are at Chicago Bears.
Loss.
Then they have the 49ers at home.
Win.
Then Thanksgiving night, they have Miami at home.
Thanksgiving night, Miami at home, under 30 degrees. That's going to be a win.
Okay, then Thursday Night Football, they're at Detroit Lions.
That's going to be a win. They're going to win in Detroit.
Then they are Sunday Night Football at Seattle Seahawks.
Loss.
Then they have New Orleans Saints at home on Monday Night Football.
Win.
Then they are at Minnesota Vikings.
Win.
Then they have the Chicago Bears at home, last game of the season.
That's a win.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, you got them 12-6.
12-5?
No. 11-6. I'm sorry.
6, yeah.
11-6. Okay, David. Okay, Eric, you are last up with the Minnesota Vikings. Have we mentioned Sam Darnold at all?
Yeah, so let's get this over with because he'll be benched by week 6.
If it's a tale of 2 seasons, we go the first 4 or first 6, and they're 2-4, and then the rest of the season.
Yeah, I'll just make it,
Yeah.
So they're at the New York Giants week 1.
Loss.
Then they have the 49ers at home.
Loss.
Then they have the Houston Texans at home.
Upset. Sorry, wrong bite. They win that one.
I thought you were smoking a bong. Then they are at the Green Bay Packers.
Loss.
Then they play the Jets in London.
Oh, they get smoked. Loss.
Then they have the Detroit Lions at home.
Loss.
Okay, so right now they are 1-5.
Yep.
So
okay.
now this is at the point where J.J. McCarthy comes in.
Yep, here you go.
At LA Rams on Thursday Night Football.
Win.
Oh, God.
Okay, then they have Indy at home.
Win.
Then they're at Jacksonville.
Win.
JJ's 3-0, baby.
There it is. Then they are at Tennessee.
Win.
Whoa, look out.
Then they're at Chicago Bears.
He finally loses. He loses that one.
Okay, then they have the Cardinals at home.
Win. 5-1.
Then
6-6.
Atlanta Falcons at home.
Win.
Wow.
Then at Chicago Bears at home on Monday Night Football.
So they lost at Chicago. They split. They win.
Then they're at Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, Geno Smith. They lose.
Then they have the Packers at home.
I got the Packers. I think. No, I didn't pick that one. Yeah, I'm going to go Green Bay beats them.
Okay. And then the last game of the season at Detroit Lions.
I don't think Detroit has anything to play for. Give them a win.
Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Rookie of the year.
Man, 9-8.
Yeah, rookie of the year. Sam Darnold.
They won 8 games with JJ McCarthy and 1 with Sam Darnold. That's funny.
You know, it's going to be hysterical if that actually happens because after the season, we're going through all this.
Oh, I know.
And the buy and sells are going to be the amazing when we have just one show buy and
Well,
sell.
on that schedule, right the date the JJ McCarthy era began.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I got to do that. That's
the guy's a winner. Tom Brady didn't have a bunch of attributes and wasn't very fast, but he could win. There's an attribute called knowing how to command a huddle and knowing how to command a locker room and win games. That isn't just being 6'5" and 240 and being able to move accounts for. So we'll see.
All right. I am going to count these up just to make sure that we have everything, all teams picked for next season. Okay, so what we can do is if you guys want to stay on the air, I can jump off and you guys can continue talking, or we can go to the last word. And since Jeff hasn't been on with us lately, he can have the last word because we know if Eric starts to have the last word, they're all going to interrupt him, and then I'm going to have the last word
We'll
anyway.
interrupt Jeff anyway.
Yeah, it's always my last word, even because I don't understand the rules of that game. I think you're like, Eric, you get the last word, and I'm like, my mind just goes blank, and I don't hear Eric, and then I just hear last word, so I have to incorporate myself. No, hey, listen. So for all the listeners, I try to explain this to Eric. My brother knows best, right? But here's the deal for me. And I don't know what before I came on, I don't know what was said, but I will say this. I have watched in my lifetime 0 preseason games. I don't watch them. I don't care about them. And they prove to be absolutely irrelevant. Always. So at the end of the day, people will talk about the depth, and I can see this and I can see that. I don't give a fuck because here's the deal. The record of a preseason team, the standings or the stats of a preseason quarterback or running back go back to 0, and it doesn't indicate a single thing. So for me, when I tell you, when you say, well, what do you think of insert said play or insert said player or insert said team up until the first week of the season, what I will tell you is I saw their draft. I know the free agents they signed for the most part. And whatever I saw, whatever that came out with, whatever my opinion was before the game you watched, And after the game you watched, my opinion's still the same because I have no fucking idea what they did. And I don't care because a 4-0 team in preseason doesn't equal a Super Bowl, and an 0-4 team doesn't equal the worst team in the NFL. And there's plenty of stats to back that shit up. I'm not going to look it up. So I say that to say, couldn't give two shits about the preseason. Hope no one gets hurt. Hates the fact that there's a couple guys that got injured and are missing time, whether it be a Steelers player or a Browns player or a Bills or a Jets or a Dolphins. I don't like to see these young kids get hurt when they're trying to make their way to the biggest payday of their lives, but the dream and the goals in which they set as a kid. Where I look at a young Bailey doing their stuff over there in Indiana, I look at him and I say, one day if he's playing a preseason game, I hope he stays healthy because when the kickoff happens, that's his moment, right? So I say that to all these kids. Most of them are young. Even the veterans of the league are all younger than me, right? I think I'm the oldest. Like I'm older than any veteran. I don't know who the oldest player is in the NFL right now, but they're all young. What's that?
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
No, there's a kicker.
It's a kicker, right?
Yeah.
But I still think I'm older than him at 45, 46. Either way, these are all young folks doing their thing, and I want them all to stay healthy because I want the best. I want the best product on the field for when the Bills kick the shit out of Pittsburgh. He can't say, well, TJ Watt didn't play again because his MCL was strained or whatever dumb shit TJ Watt excuse. I'm kidding, Eric. That was a joke. I really want people to stay healthy and have the best product that they bought, right, and paid for the fans' sake that they watch, for the players' sake because I want them to stay healthy, and just for the betterment of football. I don't like injuries. They happen, and I know they're part of the game, but yeah. So no, I don't watch preseason. That's my last word. I have no idea. I've never watched a preseason game in my life. I have zero clue as to what they do.
All right. Well, thank you for the final word, Jeff, and thank you for keeping it short.
I don't know if that was short, Sean. I don't know if that was.
It was shorter than last week because Jeff couldn't let Derek talk. So anyway, all right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in, and we will see you next week from the couch.
Later, guys. Yinzers.
Oh my.
David Preston.